Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. My name is Johanna Manso, and I am the Logistics and Events Manager at Internet System Consortium, and I will be your host for today. The title of our presentation today is DNS, BIND, and DNSSEC Training Certification Program, and our panelists are Susan Grace, IC Client Services Manager, Eddy Winstead, IC Trainer and Support Engineer, Carsten Strotmann, Man and Mice Professional Services and Training Director. Several quick points. This webinar will run for about 45 minutes. All webinar participants are automatically muted upon entry. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted on our website within 3 business days. If you have questions about webinar logistics, please forward them to me by typing it into the chat area. We will have several pauses during the presentation to answer questions from attendees. To submit questions for the panelists, you have 2 options. Option 1 is to type it into the Q&A area in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. When the time comes, I will read it out to our panelists for them to answer live. Option 2, you can click on the raise hand button. At the appropriate time, I will unmute your microphone for you to ask your question. Now, without further delay, I would like to hand the mic over to Sue. Go ahead, Sue.
Hi, thanks, everybody. You can hear me okay, Johanna?
Yes.
Great.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, great. And you want to push the slides forward a little bit? Thanks, everybody, for coming today, and thanks, Johanna, for the intro. And I'm excited that we are finally announcing this program. As some of you who've been following us and taking our trainings for a while know that this was a goal of ours. So the first thing I'd like to do is give a brief overview on ISC. Some of you may not be as familiar with us as as others, so I'll just do a quick overview. I think we went over all the logistics already. There we go. So ISC stands for Internet Systems Consortium. We were formed in 1996 as a nonprofit. In U.S. legal speak, we are a 501c3 public benefit corporation. And we provide core production quality software, open source software, protocols and operations benefiting the Internet. And our main goal is, making the Internet better for the community and the world. A little more about us. Our open source software is organized in forums. We have BIND. Our DNS software, open source software, is our flagship product, and it's run in approximately 80% of the name servers in the world. BIND 9.8 is the current version, though 9.9 is a release candidate. And we are also doing a complete reimplementation of the protocol with BIND 10. ISC DHCP is our current version. Our current version is version 4, and we are developing a new implementation of that also in conjunction with BIND 10. After is our dual stack Lite V4 to V6 software, and we have 2 new software forums. The SRF, which is Security and Resiliency Forum, which contains the SIE service, and Open Source Routing Forum. All our software and services are backed up by our professional services organization. For consulting, we offer a variety of consulting packages, from BIND upgrades to migrations to DNSSEC deployment with HSMs and IPv6 deployment. Training you probably know about, which is why you're here. So professional support that we offer ranges from Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 coverage with up to 7 by 24 coverage. Custom software development. If you have a special need within BIND or DHCP, we offer custom development for a variety of projects. We run FRoot, one of the 13 root name servers, and we run it as a public benefit service over 70 locations worldwide, but we also have a corporate FRoot node that we offer under our services banner. SNS secondary name server service for your DNS resiliency needs, and domain survey is a survey of all the domains in the IPv4 namespace, and we have a public and for-fee version of that. Other public benefit services that we offer, I already mentioned FRoot. We provide SNS services to at no charge to EDU and research organizations, hosted at for open source software organizations and other public benefit projects, and we participate in several standards organizations, both public policy and standards making organizations, and you can see those listed. By empowerment, we mean we participate and drive standards processes for open source code and services. We contribute our employees' time to policy meetings, operational security, the OPSEC org, and other research orgs. And we are the founder of the DNSSEC, which is a leading DNS research organization. So that's a quick overview of us, and happy to answer questions later if there's any specifically on our other services. And what I'd like to do now is pass it over to Carsten.
Yes, thank you, Sue. Hello, everybody. This is Carsten from Men and Mice. And a few words on Men and Mice. Men and Mice also works in the DNS space now for more than 20 years. We started in 1990, and in the 90s we had our flagship product was QuickDNS Pro, DNS server for the macOS operating system at that point of time with a nice GUI. And we later then extended that software to be an overlay solution running on top of existing DNS servers. And one of these DNS servers is the bind DNS server from ISC. So through all the time, we had a strong emphasis on knowledge and on trainings, and we are now working together with ISC since beginning of last year in the training business, and we have together worked on the certification. Next slide, please. So about Men and Mice, we are a company headquartered in Reykjavik, Iceland, way up in the north, where it's all cold and dark at the moment, but nice and sunny and all nice in the summertime. Our flagship product is the Men and Mice Suite, which is a DNS and DHCP IP address management overlay solution for IPv4 and IPv6 networks, meaning overlay solution, it doesn't include a DNS or DHCP server, but it works on top of existing ones, like the ISC DNS server or the bind DNS server or the ISC DHCP server. And yeah, we do trainings together with ISC around the world. And we also do consulting around DNS, DNSSEC, and IPv6, because knowledge, that is what we do, knowledge about these topics. And I pass back to Sue.
Yep, thank you. And I apologize, I've got a little bit of a cold, so sorry if I, oh, let me take you off. There, is that better? So what I'd like to do is get into the meat of this. So as Carsten mentioned, we first formalized our partnership with Men and Mice last January, a year ago, and we're co-developing the training materials, and we took the best of both organizations' expertise and material and created the training that we've been giving for over a year together. We also share training resources and as Carsten mentioned, deliver it, around the globe. So it only made sense based on our experience and the fact that ISC is developing the software that we also certified those that are trained by us. And the certification will be basically an assurance to organizations that they're hiring properly trained, self-sufficient DNS admins. And we wanted to give all the hardworking and underappreciated DNS admins out there something to put on their resumes and use as a use in their job prospects going forward. And lastly, obviously, if everyone is trained in proper operations and configurations of bind and DNSSEC, then the internet is a safer and smoother running environment for everybody. So we're hopefully making the internet a better place. So we have lofty goals. The the first three that we're doing this in phases. The first three courses basically are our 5-day course, which is broken into a 2-day intro and then a 3-day advanced topics in DNSSEC. So we'll have 2 certification levels depending on if you take the first 2 or all 5 days. And then we'll have a separate certification for the DNSSEC course. We reviewed other ones out there and decided that these were the most representative titles. We thought about Extreme Geek and things like that, but we decided on these. The second phase we'll be adding will be our DHCP and IPv6 fundamentals courses. Next slide. Oh, yeah. So Carsten's going to demo the actual testing software now.
So yes, so we have prepared a small video, which we see here. It is a quick run through a certification test. The user enters 2 pins. One is the instructor pin given to the instructor. The other one is the trainee pin given to the one taking the certification test. The first side is showing the data of the person taking the test and also some help. And then once the button is clicked to start the test, then the first question appears. We have controls on the lower side to flip forward or backward a question. The flag button is to stop the training, or sorry, stop the certification. So if someone already has completed all the questions before the end of time, it can be stopped there. The green bar on the right-hand side, that shows the amount of minutes that are left in the training, or in the certification, sorry. The certification have different lengths. Like this is a 50-minute test with 30 questions in there. We also have a 60-minute test with 120 questions in there. And yeah, depending on the topic, we have a different amount of questions, different amount of time for these questions. In the upper part, we see the question itself. It's question number 1 of 30, and it's a multiple choice web-based test. So the user can now select here one of the answers, or just skip to the next question. So whenever the person taking the test is not sure about what's the answer to that question, with the marker button, which is the button in the middle here, it can be marked for later review, and then it goes red. It also goes red in the question bar at the bottom of the web page, so it can be reviewed afterwards. So now we have jumped ahead to the end of the certification test. The green bar is now all gray, and there's 0 minutes left in the certification test. And the person taking the test can now go through all the questions again if there's time enough, and maybe double check all the answers in there. And everyone can just take all the time needed, or can end the test beforehand. If the time is up, so then the test will automatically end and will present the result, which will happen any second now. So here we have the test results. The score must be 75% or more of the possible points in the test to pass the test. And we have a breakdown on the bottom of the different topics in the test and how the trainees scored in the test here. So in the part of Unix-based question, it was 64%, and others were 100%. And of course, everyone will get a nice certificate printout and also printed out result of the certification test. So that was a quick run through certification testing.
Okay, so now the details. So the phase 1 is going to be available to past and current or future trainees by Minimize or ISC. Later in the year, we'll make the certification available to experienced bind admins out there in the community. So you don't have to take our training, but obviously we recommend it. And we'll make it available at no charge during the training, or people that have taken the training can come into a training site of a current training and take the test, and at no charge for their first time. And then after that, this is the pricing for each level of certification. It's going to be administered by ISC and Minimize initially at the public trainings, and then later we are working with reseller and training partners to also proctor the test, and eventually we'll offer it online, monitor it online. So we're going to take a little break here and see if there have been any questions that have come up for you during this, or any other kinds of questions that might have come up for anybody. We'll just pause for a moment. I know we're not that good. Come on. I don't see any questions. Johanna, do you see any questions? Oh, wait a minute. Maybe there's one. So I have one question. Says, will there be? Hang on, I can't see this window. 1 second.
Okay, let me read it out loud.
Okay, great.
We have one from Phil. Will there be lab questions or just multiple choice questions for the exam?
Carsten, will you want to answer that?
Yes, I can answer that. In the test, there are multiple choice questions, and we have two kinds of multiple choice questions. One is with radio buttons, signaling that there's only one possible correct answer, and we have types of questions that allow multiple checkboxes to be checked, which means that there are more than one possible correct answer that can be checked. We don't have any written like testing where you have to write or where you do have to like configure a bind name server and install that up. That's not in there currently.
Okay, next question. The certification is just a test possibility via the Man in My site? Question.
Minimize. Oh, I thought it said suite. Yeah, the site. So taking it online, is that I think that's the question. And that is something that we're going to do down the road.
Okay, next question. Do we have to take the certification test on-site after training?
No, we don't strap you to a chair and make you take the test. You don't have to. It's totally optional.
Yeah, I would like to add, it is possible if someone would like to take the test, it is possible to do that immediately after the training. But I know some people are not maybe up to speed doing that directly after the training. It's also possible to book for any other Manamize OIC training later, and then just come to the training place at the end of the training and sit down and do the test.
Okay. Next question. When will be the cert test available? Yes, when will the cert test be available?
So do you answer that?
One of you?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say it's available with the test, with the certification test we announced today in phase 1, starting with the next possible training location we have in our schedule. And we will have a slide later on which lists all the scheduled trainings for 2012. So if you want to take a test, the easiest way today is to come to one of our training sites. Either participate in the training, take the training, or sign up and come to the training site after the training and take the certification test there.
Right. So I think the first one, So I think the first one in the U.S. will be the March training in Redwood City, and I'm not sure overseas what the.
I think Rome.
If that's going to be available or not, but we'll get back to everybody and let them know.
Okay. Let's take 2 more questions, and then we will continue with the slide, and then we'll keep the rest of the questions for the end. And also, I'd like to remind everyone to please submit your question in the Q&A area. That way it's easier for me to track everything at one shot instead of in the chat and the Q&A. Thank you for that cooperation. Okay, so let's move on to our last 2 questions for now. We have one from Ken. We had Manamize provide on-site training a few years ago for our staff. Would the attendees be eligible to sit for the exam? Carsten or Sue?
Can you repeat that? I didn't get the first part.
Okay, so it's a question. We had Manamize provide on-site training a few years ago for our staff. Would the attendees be eligible to sit for the exam?
Yes.
I guess
yes.
About certification.
Yes.
Okay.
Just contact the salesperson or the training person at Manamize that you have contacts at that point of time, and we will tell you how you can come to the trainings. And yes, it is for all past trainees, that is people who joined Manamize OIC training in the past. They have the ability to do the certifications. Okay,
so the last question now, and then we'll do the slide. Will there be a requirement to get the lower cert before getting the 5-day cert?
Yeah, it's actually 2 tests. You can take that at the end of the 5 days, but you're going to take 2 tests that way. So you can either take a test at the end of Tuesday and then the end of Friday, or you can come in on Friday and take both tests. Is that right, Carsten? Is that how we're doing it?
That's correct.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So let's
save the rest for at the end. Let's just kind of finish up the slides here, and then we can answer the rest of the questions. This is the list of the upcoming trainings, and as you can see, Singapore sold out. So so the next public training is indeed the March training in Redwood City. And then the rest are listed there, and that's the first half of the year. We'll be coming up with the second half of the year schedule shortly. And next slide. These are also some upcoming web seminars that are being put on by ISC. I think Manamize is doing some as well. So you're welcome to any of those, and you can sign up there on the links on the bottom of that page. Next slide. And as always, we're trying to keep in contact with everybody and notify you about But you can sign up to any of these links and follow us to find out about webinars or events that we're participating, or find out about, if you go to the next slide, there's the mailing lists for keeping in touch with us on events, as well as updates on releases and security announcements, things like that. ISC also has a new knowledge base. Oh, sorry, go back one. Has a new knowledge base that we're constantly populating. Anyone is welcome to, there's a public portion that you don't need a login for, and then there's more information if you do have a login, and those are available to anyone. You can just go to the main link there and sign up for that, where we have knowledge articles and things like that. And there's some the minimized training links and certification links are on that page as well. Okay. Did you have any other things you wanted to say, Carsten, on minimize before we go to questions?
No, that's fine. Let's go to questions.
All right. So I think the next one is open book, open notes reference materials, and the answer is yes. During the test, you can use whatever materials you have at your resource. Though the only thing is, it is a time test. So obviously, there'd be a limited amount of time to look up a lot of answers because we're testing your knowledge. Anything to add to that, Carsten?
No, that's basically also all books, notes, reference materials, even the internet, Google is possible during the test. But it is a challenging test. It's 2 questions a minute, so there is only time to maybe look up like 1 or 2 questions, but not everything.
Next question.
Okay, so the next one I see is the training, if the training is mandatory, currently, so the training is mandatory, is afterwards possible to attend the DNSSEC expert testing directly? So I think the question is if you haven't taken the training, and the answer is, well, what are we going to do about that? I guess if they want to come to a public training facility and take the test, are we going to do that up front, or is that the next phase?
Yeah, that would be possible just by signing up and letting us know if you want to come to any of our training facilities where training is taking part, just to take the certification testing there. But be reminded, the certifications are based on our trainings. It is normal DNSSEC and bind and DNS knowledge in there. So even if you haven't sit in the test, you still might be able to pass the certification test for sure, and you can try that.
Okay, next question we have is, how confident are you that this will become globally recognized certification?
Well, part of our goal is, as I mentioned in the beginning, we're going to be working with other global training organizations to, down the road, to also give these tests and certify them. And we're going to work with other providers of DNS training as well. So we hope to basically form our own accreditation organization. We feel that we are well enough established in the DNS community to certify it ourselves, but we obviously want to try to bring other organizations on board to do that with us.
Okay, we have From Phil, are you intending for training folks to be able to pass the test upon immediate completion of the course, or are you expecting people to need to come back after concentrated study? I'm not clear yet on that from what has been said so far.
I take that one. It is a choice of the person who wants to take the test. So people that are joining our trainings can decide whether they want to take the test immediately after completion of the course, or that is an option. They can come back after some more study. So we are flexible here, and it's really depending on the on the person who wants to take the test to decide.
Okay, I have a question from Warren. Any idea on pricing for just the test without the training?
We gave that in the slide, actually.
Yeah, the prices were only for certification. The training prices, unfortunately, are a little bit higher. But they are good, and they're worth the money.
Okay. Okay, next question. For those who are already attending a training course, will there be an online test available? I guess it will down the road.
Yes, down the road there will.
Yes.
Okay, one question from Venkata. Do you have any training program in India?
Not currently, but we are open to training in India. We just haven't scheduled anything there yet.
Okay.
But please get in contact with us if you are interested in training in India, and we can send a trainer there if there's more than 3 or 4 people already, or we can just schedule a public training in India.
Next question. Many certification things provide an example test so folks can get a feel of the type of question. Will this do the same?
Yes, what we will have and what we already have is we have a training pre-test. The training pre-tests are open for everyone, and they are free. The pre-tests are like example tests, and we recommend everyone who wants to join one of the IC or Manamized training courses to take this pre-test. The pre-test basically is a test on whether you have enough prerequisite knowledge to join a test. Like if you want to join the DNSSEC training, the DNSSEC pre-testing will just ensure that you have enough basic DNS knowledge to understand the content of the DNSSEC training. And these example or pre-training tests, they are free. We will make them available online, and for everyone who wants to take these as an example are happy to do so.
Okay, next question. If we receive a training on DNSSEC on-site for 5 persons, will these 5 persons be allowed to pass the certification without any extra cost?
Yes, it's included in the test, in the training, sorry.
Okay. Okay, this is another question about online. Yes, this is from Costas. For those who have already attended a training course, will there be an online test available? We've already answered that.
Right.
Okay. Next one. If we get back to bind customization in case a customer would need it, is there some sort of price list?
I'm assuming that means bind customization means some kind of custom development for bind for someone, for you. I would say to just email us and we'll handle that offline. It'll be based on the customization work that we're doing. All right,
I see one more question in the chat window from Christian Fritz. He was asking, is online through person or Prometric? Question mark. So the full question is probably if these tests are, the certification tests are available through person, education, or prometric test centers. Not at the moment, but they might be in the future. At the moment, the certification tests are only available through either ISC or through Men+Mice.
Yeah, this is our initial rollout, so that's what we're doing, and then we'll add those as we go along. I think that's it, right?
I don't see any other questions. If anybody has any more questions, do type it in right now. We'll give you a minute or so.
In the meantime, I just want to thank everyone for joining us today, and thank you, Carsten. And we look forward to seeing you at our next training to take our test and get certified.
Yes, thank you, Sue and Johanna, for the great organization. And yes, I would like to see everyone who was here in this webinar next time in one of our training and certification tests. See you there.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.